So who says you can't build a gaming PC here in 2022? Certainly not me. With GPU prices on the decline and parts availability better than it's been in recent history, now is as good a time as any to go ahead and build that gaming PC you may have been putting off. So I've got links to all these parts as well as my socials, including my Discord server, in the description box below. Let's get started. So diving right into the CPU, we're going to start off with the Intel 10400. Now this is 6 cores and 12 threads. Of course it is 10th gen Intel, so it is limited to PCIe 3. However, still a very fantastic choice for a mid-tier gaming PC here in 2022. And if you do want to save a few dollars, look for the 10400F, which is the same processor just without the integrated graphics, since we do have a dedicated graphics card for this build. For the motherboard, nothing fancy here, but we do have the Gigabyte DS3H V2. Now the DS3H line of motherboards is pretty bare bones as far as VRM cooling and things of that nature, but it does have RGB, ARGB, and enough fan headers to do a basic gaming PC build. Now this particular board doesn't have Wi-Fi, however if you need Wi-Fi, they do have a Wi-Fi version of this board for about $20 more. For the RAM, we've got a 2x8 gig kit of silicone power memory. This cost about 50 bucks on Amazon, and it's nothing to write home about as far as heat sinks and cooling, but it is 3200 megahertz at CL16, and since it doesn't have big heat spreaders, isn't going to get in the way of the cooler that we're adding. And for the cooler, we've actually got the VTrue V5. Now this, for $30, is probably the best cooler on the market, and if you don't think so and you think there's a better one, make sure to leave me a comment down in the comment section. Moving on to the storage, I chose the Sabrent drive, and this is a 1TB NVMe drive that has read and write speeds of 3200 megabits per second to 2000 megabits per second respectively, and has really been on sale for around $80 to $85 over the last month, and is really just a fantastic choice for an NVMe drive. Moving on to the power supply, I've got the EVGA 650 GQ, which is a good power supply, but probably a little bit over what's needed for this build. I would actually say something in the bronze and non-modular would be fine, but since I was able to actually get a very good deal on this power supply, being it almost fully modular as well as being gold rated instead of bronze, I went ahead and picked that up for about $55, but the bronze version of this power supply would be absolutely fine. And for the case, we've got the Apevia Prodigy Black. Now this case is a very good case for a budget build and even really just a mid-tier build itself. My two gripes about this case are that the fans are actually Molex and there is no synchronization with the motherboard. So you do have to use the button on top of the case to change your RGB. But other than that, it's actually a solid case, great cable management, great airflow, and certainly is not going to give you any issues. However, if you don't like the Molex fans and you want RGB sync, then I would suggest maybe something like the Montech Air 100 Lite, and then throwing in a pair of like Up Here fans or Asia Horse fans, some cheap RGB fans to allow you to synchronize with the rest of the components in your system. And last but not least for the parts, we have got the GPU, and that is going to be the GTX 1070. Now these are still selling for about $300 to $400, about $350 on average on eBay, but we have been seeing prices go down at this point. So some people have actually been able to snag this for as low as $300, and for 1080p or even 1440p, as we'll see down in the benchmarks later, it's still a really excellent, really capable card. Now, if you wanted to go with something new that's comparable, something like a 6600 or a 6600 XT from the AMD side, for somewhere around $425 to $500, depending on which card and which variant of the card, would still be a very good option for the system. Now, taking a look at performance, we got Cinebench R23, and we had a single thread score of 1084 and a multi-threaded score of 8012. So certainly a very capable CPU, the 10400F is. And moving into gaming, we saw the 1080p high settings. We were able to get nearly 100 FPS on almost every game, and certainly dialing those games down to maybe medium settings, you would actually get over 100 FPS in some of the more demanding titles. So once again, the 10400F and the GTX 1070, a very adequate, very capable combo, even here in 2022. And if you want to see how I configure every gaming PC I build for optimal performance, check out this video right here. And as always guys, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.